This is the Aldi Easy Home Flame Effect Heater. Now, you've seen heaters like this advertised before. You may have seen it on QVC or an infomercial. They come in different styles and types. They all pretty much do the same thing and work the same way. Basically what this is a regular electric heater that has something that looks kind of like fire. So let me just get it turned on first and I'll show you how it works. And that's what it looks like when the fire is on. Certainly nothing like a real fire, but convincing at a quick glance, I suppose. And now with the lights off, so you get a little bit better ambiance of what we're looking at here, it's pretty nice. It's also a pretty simple device, and you'll be amazed how they got this effect to actually work. So now I'll show you all the controls and everything like that. Okay, here's the control panel on the back, and there are 3 switches and 2 knobs. Without the on-off switch on, nothing works. When you turn the on-off switch on, just the fire flame effect goes, but there's no heat output whatsoever. You also have a dimmer here for the effect, which I will show you. What happens then is you can hit the second switch, and that will turn on the heat on low. If you kick on the third switch, that'll turn it on high. There's a temperature control here that clicks. It's a real thermostat, but it works in a little bit of a strange way, and of course I will show you that as well in just a moment. Down over here is where you would access the bulbs in order to change them, and we'll get back to that a little bit later. First and foremost, the flame effect by itself is pretty much silent. I'll go and kick on the next switch, and that's going to put the heater on. The heat comes out from down below over here, and it's a strong blower. That's nice because that will really kick the heat across the room at the expense of noise. It's noticeable, but it's not terribly noisy. And this is on low now. And then you can kick on the third switch, and then that'll put it on to high, and I'll show you a temperature change here. On low, this is putting out approximately 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's just a nice warmth. It's not really hot or anything to that nature. I can keep my hand on it, and the longer I keep it there, it gets a little bit more and more uncomfortable, but it's certainly not going to burn you. So this is just a very gentle heat. And now on high, you can see that this is pumping out a little bit over 160 degrees. This is where it's really starting to cook, and that's also why I don't have my hand there. Now I can feel the heat standing about 4 feet away from this thing, just actually blowing at me. So this will, like I said, kick the heat out into the room pretty well, and that's also why it is a little bit noisy. But let me show you how the controls and the dimmer work. First, the dimmer, I'll just reach back, and you can just dim this down to a very dull glow, to a bright glow. And once again, with the lights off, that's as low as it goes, and that's as high as it goes. For those concerned about electricity usage, the flame effect, which always has to be on in order to get any heat, uses 82 watts just for that display. If you then go ahead and kick on the next switch, now the whole unit is pulling about 745 watts or so. And if you kick on to high, now we're pulling about 1360 watts. You can mitigate that ever so slightly if you'd like by turning down the flame effect, and you can see that we're at about 1320 or so compared to 1360. And with the heating elements off, you can bring that down to 48 watts rather than about 80. This unit is approximately 2 foot square. It's 22 inches wide and stands about 20.5 tall. Your depth is about 7.5, but of course you are going to want to leave a little bit of room for airflow. Incidentally, the 3 switches on the back are lighted when you turn them on and off. And lastly is the temperature control. This works a little bit differently from other heaters you may have had. Once again, the on-off switch has to be on, you can kick either of these on. Nothing happens until you kick on the on switch. And then you can hear it start up. Now the way this works, you can hear the click on that. If you look closely, you can see the high element only turns on when the temperature calls for it. So when you have the heat on, it's always on low. It does not make a difference. You'll see where I put this. So the temperature really only controls the high element, which is really two elements put on at the same time. So you can set it just about there. As the room heats up, it'll go back to low. So you just have low on. And then if the room cools off enough, it'll come back on and continue. So like I said, this works a little bit differently than you may be accustomed to. It doesn't fully control the heat, but it will control the blasts of it getting really hot. Now for bulb replacement, it's very easy. There's this metal plate on the back just with 2 screws. It says it takes E12 40-watt bulbs. These are those candelabra type bulbs you might have in a chandelier in the dining room, or maybe in your kitchen or something like that. Some outside lights take these also. These have the small base on them, the candelabra style base, and these are 40-watt bulbs. There are 2 of them, as you can see in there. There's another bulb. Now how does it do the flame effect? Well, it's very simple. If you look up in here, it's little pieces of tinsel wrapped on a wire that just hang off, that rotate, and that's what makes that effect. This of course is some red or orange colored plastic that's painted black in places to sort of look like some logs in a fire. So once again, this was the Aldi Easy Home Flame Effect Heater. Add some nice ambiance to a sitting area that you may have in your home without needing to put in all sorts of chimneys and other stuff like that. Again, anybody can tell this is not real, but it sure does the trick at a quick glance. The front, by the way, is glass, so you do want to be careful about hitting it with anything. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.